Hi guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Pieter-Louis.
Welcome back to Legend and Lure, a world tour. Today we're traveling to the misty highlands of Scotland, to one of the most iconic bodies of water in the world, Loch Ness. It's a place where ancient myths and modern mysteries collide. For nearly a century, and possibly much longer, eyewitnesses have whispered about something massive moving beneath its dark water. They say it's a monster, a relic, a survivor from a time when reptiles ruled the seas. They call it the Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, as locals affectionately dubbed her. Let's dive in.
What happened to us not doing popular folklore?
You had the audacity to tell me in one of our episodes that Nessie doesn't exist, so I decided to do it.
Okay, no, it's I understand. Let's do Nessie. I'd like to know more because I know about Nessie. We've all read a book or saw it somewhere, but it's just.
No, you
just
did to
what
offend
happened.
me in one of my previous episodes, so we're doing this. Loch Ness is no ordinary lake. It's huge, stretching over 36 kilometers long and plunging to depths of more than 250 meters. Its waters are pitch black from peat runoff, making it nearly impossible to see even a few meters below the surface. It's the perfect setting for something to hide, undetected for centuries. But when did the legend of the Loch Ness Monster really begin? Believe it or not, the earliest written account dated all the way back to the year 565 AD.
That's really long ago.
Yes.
I thought this is like a 1700s, 1800s.
No, it went all the way back.
I thought this is like only recent, well, recent meaning like after plague recent. Yeah, here we go with the plague again.
Go away. According to the life of Saint Columba, the Irish missionary encountered a water beast in the river Ness that had killed a man. When it tried to attack again, Columba made the sign of the cross and commanded it to retreat. And it did. The ancient story might sound dramatic, but it planted the first seeds of the legend. The modern Nessie craze, though, began much later, on May 2nd, 1933.
Okay, what happened in between?
I'm guessing they didn't.
So from
there was no
565
no
AD
reported
to
sightings.
1933,
There was
AD.
no reported sightings.
minus 22 years for whatever happened in...
Nessie stayed underneath the water. Nobody saw it. Anyway, that's when a local couple, and we're back to 2nd May 1933, that's when a local couple claimed they saw a massive creature rolling and plunging through the loch. The story ran in the Inverness Courier, and it exploded. Soon after, a flurry of sightings followed, along with blurry photographs, frantic expeditions, and an explosion of international curiosity. But here's a fun detail. Nessie didn't always go by that name. The nickname Nessie is a relatively recent invention. It likely emerged in the 1940s as media coverage and public affection for the monster grew. Giving the beast a nickname made it feel somehow more real and more familiar. Instead of a nameless terror, it became Nessie, the shy, elusive inhabitant of the Scottish Highlands. Over the decades, thousands of people have claimed to see something in the loch. Humps rising from the surface, wakes with no boat in sight, long necks arching out of the water and shapes swimming just below the surface. But despite the abundance of eyewitness reports, hard evidence have remained frustratingly elusive. And yet, the hunt continues. Fast forward to 2018, when scientists took a plunge. A team of researchers from New Zealand, led by Professor Neil Gemmell, conducted a comprehensive DNA survey of Loch Ness. I have to say, I agree with this study. This opened so many doors for me. Anyway, they took more than 250 water samples from all around the loch, extracting fragments of environmental DNA or eDNA to identify what creatures lived in the lake. The study detected DNA from about 3,000 species. Now here's the interesting part. They found no evidence of sturgeon, catfish, or ancient marine reptiles like plesiosaurs. But they did find significant traces of an eel DNA, a lot of eel DNA. So could Nessie be a giant eel? Think about it. Think about the pictures. It literally,
It does.
it makes so much sense.
I've got a lot of theories, but I want to say a giant eel is. I've never thought about it, but yes.
They make this whole body up because they never see beneath the water. But think about it. Eel. I didn't add this picture because it will give everything away, but let me add this picture for you. I didn't want to.
Look, obviously DNA testing
There
and
at the
stuff.
bottom you'll see Pieter-Louis, no. Shark, no. Catfish, no. None of that DNA is there.
I
But
know, yeah.
this huge eel, that neck makes sense.
Because the biggest eel ever caught was 110 kilograms, 3 meters long. Now imagine a school of them, and that's a European
The
conger.
basic eel is 1 meter, but we'll get to that soon.
You'll get basic eels 1 meter, but the biggest one ever caught is 3 meters.
Yes.
It's quite big, and that's the European conger. So that means that's basically sort of kind of in the area of Scotland. Not really, but close. Close enough. Well, I never thought about it being an eel.
I honestly feel it's
Why-
an eel.
But why do you think it's an eel? Why can't it just be a monster?
If you look at the DNA, the actual facts, what they did, because they actually worked on DNA. So I really feel you can't go against DNA. So there had to be something detected.
Okay, but remember, eels do eat peat, and that's the whole loch is made of peat, basically. Isn't it? Eels eat peat, right?
I have no clue.
I'm going to Google this. Eels eat peat. Eels eat peat. Weird stuff to Google. No, sorry. Eels do not eat peat. Eels are carnivorous. Okay.
Carnivores, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's possible that Nessie could be an eel. Eels are known to live in the Loch Ness, and while typical ones grow around 1 meter long, the team didn't rule out the possibility of something much bigger. A sort of outlier, a monstrous oversized eel. It wouldn't explain every sighting, but it certainly offers a compelling natural explanation.
Yeah, but like the humps they see in the water. I think the most famous ones are the humps, and then the other one is the long neck that
Okay,
looks
but
like a
think
Pieter-Louis.
about an
Yeah.
eel. If it bends its head, so it lifts its head and it bends it, it still has a tail. So I mean, the tail can still make a hump in the water as it's jumping around.
Yeah, like, it'll make a hump. Yeah, it's just that one image of the Pieter-Louis.
That's the
Would
thing,
it-
they
would-
draw it like that, but I don't think
Yeah.
they actually see that part.
Look, there's a lot of it that obviously
Everybody
it's not
assumed
real.
it has this fat body with these small fins or whatever. I don't think anybody actually saw the bottom. They just assumed.
So for a change, you are for it being a myth, and not actually for it being
It's not a myth.
mystical.
It's explaining what Nessie is.
But who says it isn't just a monster that actually doesn't like Bigfoot?
No.
What if
this
it's a
explains
lost
what Nessie
dinosaur?
is. Nessie is real. It doesn't have to be a monster. It can be a humongous. I mean, even Bigfoot. It can be a giant. Who cares? It's
Because what's interesting you said now is it's not a catfish. I was like, obviously, my first thought when I first heard about Nessie, when I was, I don't know, 5 years old, back in 1823,
whatever.
I heard about Nessie. My thing was, it's probably a big catfish. It's a catfish, or it's
No,
a.
I would have went for a Plesiosaurus, whatever, the dinosaur effect. I would have thought a dinosaur that didn't die. But
But they would have caught it by now.
no, because they say the Loch Ness is basically so murky, you cannot see.
Yeah,
in it.
but
why?
there are ways of finding stuff in rivers.
There's bodies in rivers that they can't find. Why do they need to find Nessie?
Well, because so many people are looking for it.
That doesn't make a difference. So
Yeah,
many
now
people
they've
look
got all
for
the
Titanic
technology in
as
the
well.
world. They've got all the technology in the
Okay,
world.
but they
If
did
they
find
could
the
find the
Titanic.
Titanic in the whole Atlantic Ocean, I'm pretty sure they can find
No, but the
one
Titanic sat still.
3 meter eel in a.
It took them very long to find Titanic and it sat still.
Yeah, but Titanic was 4,000
Nessie
meters underwater,
doesn't
not
stand
300.
still.
Yes, and Nessie is in the area the size of basically not even a province. It's small. It's 56 squares. 56. Wait a minute. What is it? 56. How big is Loch Ness? 56 square meters. 56.
I see that you're
It's not
above.
terribly big. Wait, Loch Ness. Look, I'm looking at it from the top view of Google
I
Earth.
just said 36 kilometers long.
Yeah, 36 long, and it's not very wide. So in total, they said it's 56 square kilometers. It's not a lot.
It's still possible if
That's
it's murky enough.
basically
Have you ever tried diving down in murky waters where you could literally just
no,
see in front?
no.
Trust
I don't
me.
dive. I'm not an eel.
Well, you're saying I am.
You might be, if Loch Ness is an eel.
You
I'm
do
not
realize
saying
you're
it's not an
saying our
eel.
kids are eels
I'm
then,
not saying
right?
I'm saying it's not an eel. I'm just saying if it was something bigger than an eel, that we would have found it.
No, I don't agree.
No, but we can find
Anyway,
anything.
let's
Look at
move
this
on.
thing. I'm looking
So
at it from the
still,
top.
even with this research, it doesn't mean the mystery is solved. The BBC has also gotten involved in the hunt. In 2003, they sponsored one of the largest investigations into the loch ever conducted. Using 600 sonar beams and satellite navigation, they scanned the entirety of Loch Ness.
You know what Loch Ness means? A loch is an inlet from the ocean, and then Ness is just the name. So all the in Scotland, I think all the big lakes have the word loch. So it means lake of, but not lake of. It means inlet.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah, in theory, a loch is supposed to be connected to the ocean, theoretically, but obviously any lake is connected to the ocean with a river. If you think about it, all dams go to the ocean, always. Water goes down. Anyway, just loch. That's why it's loch.
They don't all
Because you
go
get
to the
Loch
ocean?
Ness, and
Okay.
I think there's like a lot of lochs around Loch Ness.
I have no clue.
But anyway, that's loch.
I was investigating Nessie.
Okay, that's just
Okay, so the results of the BBC investigation, nothing conclusive. No monsters, no giant creatures. Although the investigation didn't yield definitive evidence, they did record unexplained underwater movement, fueling further speculation. Nessie even inspired movies like The Water Horse and popped up in Doctor Who. Whether fairy star or fearsome serpent, she's a fixture in our imaginations. And then there's the infamous surgeon's photograph from 1934, the black and white image that shows a Loch Ness rising out of the water. For decades, it was considered proof. That is, until the 1990s when it was exposed as a hoax involving a toy submarine and some clever camera work. Still,
But why in
even after
1933?
that confession, sightings kept coming. I don't know.
Like there was nothing for 1,910 years after the
Somebody
first
wanted to become famous.
sightings, and then 1933 there was a sighting, and then suddenly in 1934, let's get a little submarine and
I'm
fake
guessing
it.
they got money for the photos and so on. It's an easy way to get money.
Why would you?
People are weird.
Look, if it wasn't, let's say, if it wasn't for the 1934 surgeon's photograph, which we all know, that's the one I said that looks like the paleo, that dinosaur thing. So it looks like the dinosaur thing that we all thought it is, and apparently
Plesiosaurus.
yeah, Pletiosaurus, whatever.
There's no T. Plesiosaurus.
I'm putting a
Let's
T
hope I'm
there.
doing
It's
right.
a T.
Go away.
It's all made up. I can do what I want.
It's not made up.
Okay. Anyway, but that's the image we all when we think of Loch Ness, we think of that image. If it wasn't for that image, there was no Loch Ness monster. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about.
No,
This.
there was.
After that image, there were more images. But
I don't
remember,
think
it was
that was
only
the
it was only exposed as a hoax in the 1990s. So that means for 70 years, we believed there was Loch Ness monster because of that one photo. Yes, there were more photos after that photo, but if we knew that photo was faked in 1934, nobody else would have faked photos. Does it make sense?
The first image of the Loch Ness monster was taken by Hugh Gray on November 12, 1933. He captured the image near Foyers on the east shore of Loch Ness while taking his usual walk. The photo is slightly blurred and has been the subject of much debate,
Yeah, that's the one with the humps.
with some suggesting it is of a dog carrying a stick.
Will you share that image with me? I want to see.
I'm trying to
Or that, whatever, just put it there in the document. I think that's the one with the bumps.
No, it just looks like nothing.
But the surgeon's photo is the one with the horse out. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to look for surgeon's photo. Where are we now? I'm lost. Okay, there we are. Okay.
I don't agree it's a dog, but okay. Looks like a whale.
Why can't Loch Ness be a
image.
whale? Who says they aren't a
Because there's no DNA.
Who says they maybe they didn't even look for whales?
They looked at all the DNA to try and figure out what Loch Ness is. What Nessie is.
Yeah, surgeon's photograph is the horse, well, the pally, what. And there they explain the hoax on Google Images.
Just put it
So
here.
that's the image that we all.
So there's the image.
That's the
first
only reason
image.
we thought Loch Ness had a long neck was that image.
No, that's not the only. That's just the first. What am
Well,
I
the second
doing?
one, but the first one, the one you just shared, that looks like absolutely nothing. That could be anything.
Well, if you think
That could
about
just be a
what
dirty
it's-
lens as well.
If you think about.
But anyway, like I said, if it wasn't for surgeon's photo, we wouldn't even think that there was a Loch Ness monster.
Yes, there was surgeon's photo.
And then the after was all just fakes.
I found a new site and now I want to read up about it. But anyway, let's get back to. Okay. So you're not alone if you heard of Nessie. Every continent seems to have its own water monster. From Champ in Lake Champion to Ogopogo in Canada, culture worldwide share tales of creatures lurking in deep lakes. Maybe the darkness of deep water taps into our oldest, most primal fears. So what do we do with all of this? The blurry photos, the sonar scans, the DNA tests, the hoaxes, the unexplained sightings. Do we file Nessie away as just another myth invented for tourism and mystery?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Or is it possible, I'm ignoring you, that something is still hiding in those dark waters, something ancient, misunderstood, and very, very good at staying out of sight? The truth is the legend of Loch Ness Monster continues to thrive not because it's been proven, but because it hasn't. Because every ripple on the surface, every unexplained wake, or every wide-eyed tourist with a camera keeps the story alive. And let's be honest, there's a part of all of us that wants Nessie to be real. Even you, Pieter-Louis. Because if a creature like that can exist in our modern world, if the deep still holds secrets, we haven't lost the magic yet.
But okay, before we go on, like you just said, we all wish it was real. Me for different scientific reasons, not because of magic. It's just like they said. Apparently, there are sharks discovered now, even till to this day that we didn't know existed. That are not that deep down or far off. It could be let's say a freshwater shark. I think Loch Ness is freshwater, I believe.
I doubt it when they say it's so murky and you can't see through it.
Well,
So I don't.
it's freshwater. It's not salty.
Oh,
Let's say it's a freshwater shark that nobody knows about. It's possible. Who says it's not? Why can't it be? Like I said, why can't it be something swimming up from the ocean to Loch Ness? I'm going to go back to my Google Maps. How far is the ocean? The ocean's really not. Okay, let's.
Yes, Loch Ness is a freshwater loch. It is the largest body of fresh water in Britain by volume and is located in the Scottish Highlands. Loch Ness is also known for being the home of the legendary Loch Ness Monster. This is AI overview on Google.
Look, if it's not that far from the ocean, why can't something swim from the ocean to there, let's say underground or something?
I'm pretty sure eel can jump if it's that big.
Do eels jump?
Yes, out of the water.
Do pigs jump?
I wouldn't know. Why would I know if a pig jumps?
I'm going to Google this. Do eels jump? Because do eels jump? Do pigs jump? Of course they jump, but why would they?
Why would an eel not fish jump out of water? Why won't an eel?
Eels, because eels aren't fish.
Eels have so much more movement with their bodies. Dolphins jump out. Most fish jump out. What's wrong with you?
Electric eels are known to leap out of the water to deliver electric shocks to prey and
What's
predators.
wrong with you? Of course.
But can't. It doesn't say anything about normal eel. Eel.
Who says Nessie isn't the electric eel?
That would be really, really scary because the electric eel is not very big. An electric eel is, technically speaking, not an eel.
That's maybe why you can't find her. She electrifies everybody and takes them down into the deep
Someone said,
depths of the water.
Didn't we talk about it, of the electric eel not actually being an eel? It's a different family.
I think we had a conversation like that one day, yes.
It feels like we might have had that discussion. But anyway, I'm thinking Nessie can be a lot of things.
An eel, a very, very big eel. It makes sense.
I'm not saying it's an undiscovered species, because obviously after all these years we would have found something. And I'm pretty sure every lake and every body of water in the world has something we haven't found yet. Nessie of Loch Ness being so dark and murky, anything is possible. I don't think any of the photo evidence is real. If there was a Loch Ness monster, we'd have found it on Google Maps by now.
No, I don't agree.
No, but look at all the satellite imaging.
There's still a lot
We're
of
constantly
fish in the ocean and everywhere that we don't know about.
Yes,
so
but
I don't agree.
it's on land. And on land, we constantly take photos with satellite. Constantly
I don't
for Google's
care.
purposes.
It doesn't mean you'll see it. The
You
water's
basically
murky.
monthly by monthly. Then why can't we see all
Think
the little
about
roots?
it. If you just see a small part of Nessie, not that it jumps out of the water and plays around that easily, just a small part, you're going to, oh, it's an eel. You're not going to realize it's a super big eel. So you're just going to say, oh, the place is full of eels. It's only the times when Nessie plays around in the water that you see, wow, this thing is huge.
And why would it play around on its own?
Why wouldn't it?
Who says there's not more than one?
Who
A
knows?
whole family of Nessies.
Maybe. You never know.
Well, I would like to believe it.
Maybe it's
a
one specific, I don't know, brand of eel that we don't know about or whatever, that's literally like snakes and so on that can replant themselves. They don't have a gender.
Yes, but now you're getting weird and X-File-ish.
No, so there's just one. And before that one dies, it creates a new one. It gives birth and dies. And then that one lives for 100 years and then it dies and gives birth to a new one and dies. That type of situation. And there's just one. It is possible for animals to have that type of lifespan. And then, boom, Nessie 2.0.
Look, there are a lot of weird theories about it, which none of them make sense. I know there's the
How
time
does
slip.
it not make sense? The DNA testing and everything. It's possible.
No, but there's more theories, like the time slip or the interdimensional theory.
What are you talking about?
Well, other people talking about...
Or these
Loch
flat
Ness-
earther people.
No, this is the kind of people that believe that people can time travel.
Well,
Because there is this theory that basically the world is multiple universes, and you can jump between universes at some point in
there
time.
is photos of people from very, very long ago that looks very much alike
Yes,
to
but
people
it's all
today.
fake. And a lot of it's made up and the story's exaggerated. I know
No,
stuff I've read. But anyway,
it's
there's
not
that
all
theory.
exaggerated. Just because you decided it's exaggerated doesn't make it exaggerated.
And obviously there's a psychological factor to it. Why my favorite mass hysteria, we can go back there.
Rolling my eyes again.
It's just if one person keeps on saying, but exactly what I just said earlier about...
The only people creating mass hysteria is you.
Yes, but the reason for the mass hysteria is because of that one photo, which 70 years later was found to be faked. If
It wasn't mass
for that
hysteria. They weren't
photo-
freaked out. They were excited. They loved Nessie. They gave her a nickname. The only people that were scared was right in the
Well,
beginning
nobody's
where
scared. I'm not scared. I'll go jump
Columbus,
and
where Nessie killed a man.
Allegedly.
So pretty much the sign he made for, I'm guessing, God so on, made him stay
So Nessie could be a
underneath
shark.
for
But
100 years.
What if Columbus's Nessie was a shark?
No, because you would pick up shark DNA.
Yes, but remember, this is now 1,376 years
I'm
later.
guessing he would have known what a shark was.
Would he?
Yes. And he would have said, had sharp teeth,
What
ripped
if-
it apart.
What if Nessie is a mermaid?
No, because it doesn't have a human body.
Says who?
The people with the photos.
Oh, what photos? All the,
the
fake
people that
ones.
saw it.
Well, what photos? It was all fake
The
photos.
people that saw it splashing around the water, you would realize when somebody had a body. You would think, oh, it's just a normal swimming person who swims in a Loch Ness. Why are you swimming in Loch Ness? That would just have been there.
What is this thing? I want to find something else. A kelpie. A mythical shape-shifting water spirit from Scottish folklore is a kelpie, or a breed of Austrian working dog. So I'm not going with a breed of Australian working dog, yeah? So in Scotland, there is the folklore of a kelpie, which is shape-shifting water spirits. Mermaid, they can turn into a
We're not
eel.
talking about weird. No, they can't. We're not talking about weird other stuff.
I'm just saying, now we're going
we
back
are
to
sticking
mass
with
hysteria.
Nessie. No,
So
you're
now-
making up stuff.
No, so now we're in the Scottish, well, almost said continent, country, island, whatever we call it now. Well, it's called, what is Scotland? Island. It's not an island, it's too big for Ireland. Anyway, in the UK. So now you get a whole culture of people that already have the folklore of a water spirit, seeing an imaginary picture. Now there's mass
We have a
hysteria.
saying in Afrikaans. Jy ruk nou die eend onder die dam uit. Of die dam onder die eend uit. You're making stuff up.
I'm not making stuff up. I'm just saying, literally, it's called a kelpie. The Scottish people talk about a kelpie. It's a water spirit. A shape-shifting water
They're
spirit.
saying in English, I don't know if it has the same effect as you pull the dam from underneath the duck. Because he's making crap up.
Not, what about this is made up? You can Google it. Google kelpie.
Okay, we're going to wrap this one up because do you
Well,
have
I've got-
another
no.
theory for me?
I do. You want to hear? Oh, 1 second. I'll
Is
find
it more reliable than mermaids and kelpies?
I'm not saying the kelpie is real. I'm just saying people believe in kelpie and now suddenly
Okay,
they
but
saw.
isn't that its own myth on its own?
It is a myth on its own, but remember,
So-
Nessie can be a kelpie.
No.
Because people made up the kelpie. Folklore. So it can be the
We
same
can
thing.
do a kelpie folklore edition later
Yeah, but that's
in
not
the
saying
fan
we want
base
to
or
do
something.
a water lily folklore. It's something very general. It's just a word made up. But anyway, let's go on. I'm out of theories now.
Are you? Okay. Let's wrap this up. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive into the world's most beloved mysteries.
If this rabbit hole stirred your curiosity, subscribe, leave a review, and share your thoughts. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and share with fellow folklore fans.
Until next time, stay curious and keep the legend alive. Bye.
Bye.